Welcome to a Cool Dudes podcast. We've been having a lot of fun. That's why our faces are smiling, because this episode is about Be Happy, episode number 5.
A laughing horse production.
I was rolling with that.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, rolling.
Okay, it's rolling. Okay. Hello and welcome to episode number 5 of a Cool Dudes podcast.
A laughing horse production.
It's all about Be Happy, emotions drive results. This is my brother Don.
How you doing?
And I'm Doug.
And we are the Cool Dudes.
We are the Cool Dudes. We are excited to bring this to you. And Be Happy is the topic. And lots of people choose not to be happy.
Oh yeah, a lot of people choose, and it is a choice.
Yeah, absolutely it is a choice.
Doesn't matter what's going on.
That's right.
It's a choice. The problem is, it is a choice. The problem is, most people don't think it's a choice. What is wrong with you? I'll just go ahead and take over. Go ahead, just
I'm being
laugh
happy
a little bit. It's a choice. Okay. All right.
It's a choice.
It is a choice. Yeah. Okay. Have we established that it's a choice?
Yeah.
I think we have. Yes.
I got the wheezes in my laugh.
Did I mention that today's podcast is
brought to you by
Bai. Panama Peach Bai drinks. Very delicious.
Okay, choice is a happy.
We just made the choice to have a drink of a happy drink.
Yes, choice. I mean, to be happy is a choice.
Absolutely.
Okay. And it's interesting because people think it's their environment, somebody else is causing this or doing that,
right,
when it's their choice.
Right. And that's exactly right. And the environmental things, all the surrounding stuff, it affects us, but we choose how it affects us. But most people don't choose. They don't realize that they have a choice.
Yeah.
And so let me tell a story to illustrate that, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So once upon a time, this is a true story, but I'm starting it with once upon a time.
In a land far, far away.
In a land not so far away.
In a galaxy.
And a time not so long ago.
Boom, 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 boom.
And there were stormtroopers, yes. No, at one point in my life, I was miserable. And it was because I didn't understand emotion. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand that I could choose the emotion that I give situations. So I was at a job, and I was a director, and because of how I was choosing to be, I was brought into my boss's office, and so I was the director of IT, and I was being asked if I would mind being the janitor
of IT.
No, just of the building. So changing light bulbs, plunging toilets, all those things that really advance your career in IT.
Nothing against janitors. If you're a janitor out there, you're awesome.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you do, love it. But it just wasn't, that was not going to move my career in the direction.
Part of the IT goals.
Yeah. Nobody wants to go from the IT guy to the toilet guy. All right, that's just, and again, not that there's anything wrong with being a janitor.
And of course, they were going to give you a pay raise.
No, it was going to, but anyway, it didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that was not a promotion.
Right.
Yeah. And that, initially I was just like, holy crap, I got to change this, or else the next invitation is going to be out the door.
They were just politely saying,
right.
Hey, you're not doing your job.
They were politely saying your attitude sucks. Yeah, right.
So we want to keep you around because we're going to offer this to you, but you can't stay where you're at.
Exactly. And so I was faced with the decision, what do? I knew I had to change. I knew I had to do something different, but I didn't know what it was. And at the time, I didn't know that I could control my emotions, that
Right.
that it was really up to me.
And most people are like that. We're going to continue with your story because I've heard the story,
Yeah.
and it's a good story.
It is a good
It has
story.
It has a happy ending, folks.
Look at
So,
me.
yeah, he's happy. So-
It does have a happy ending.
but most people don't know that they're in control of their emotions.
Right.
They
I
let
didn't.
their environment be in control of it.
Or the people around them, or situations. And people think that things happen to us randomly. No, they don't happen randomly. They happen as a result of the decisions we're making, because those decisions are filled with emotion.
And
that
emotion
emotion
drives
drives us.
Yeah.
And what we do, the action we take, the emotion driving us is the action we take, and that action creates or produces our results.
So let's continue on with your story. So
Okay.
they called you into the office, said, "Hey, you're doing such a good job.
We'd like to
we-
promote you to janitor.
we would like
Yeah.
you to be the janitor." So when you walked out, what were you thinking
I
at that
can't
point?
say those words. This is a family-friendly pod. No, I was concerned. I was just like, "Holy crap!" I mean, it was a slap in the face. It really was.
Yeah.
And I thought, and the thing is in my mind, I couldn't dismiss that they were right,
Right.
because my attitude was horrible.
Yeah,
I
so-
mean, I would wake up every morning and I would just literally sit on the edge of my bed and say every swear word in my mind I could think of, and in my mind convince myself that going to work was the right thing to do.
Yeah. So here you are. You're in a position where you're sitting on the edge of the bed. Life is just, it sucks.
Yeah, it's kicking me in the butt.
Yeah. And it's not just your business life, although your business life was a big thing. It was
Yeah,
affecting
it was a
everything.
driving factor.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how did you get from victim? Because I'm sure you left the office and you're like, those places, how do they know what I'm doing? And
Well, yeah, it was just like,
So-
I'm, how am I supposed to be, all this, and I have all these people doing this and all of this stuff happening, and I can't do this because of this and because of that and because of them. Everybody else was the problem.
So how did you go? Because emotion drives all of this. You want to be happy, and it is a choice. So how do you go from where you're at to say, okay, what's the first step?
Yeah, that was, I mean, there was some soul searching. I mean, because again, I'm blaming everything and everyone else, but in the back of my mind and in my heart of hearts, I knew I was the problem.
Yeah.
I knew I had the problem. I didn't know I was the problem. I knew I had the problem.
You had the problem.
Right. And I remember, as I'm thinking about, okay, I got to make change. I got to figure this out. And I didn't know what to do. And then, if you recall, I called you on the phone and said, "Hey, we're going to a seminar." Remember that?
Yeah.
And in my mind, and I'm going to the seminar just because I want to get my wife off my back, because she's been nagging at me that I need to go to this seminar because this guy will make me feel really good about myself, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
And isn't that what we all want when we're right in the middle of change?
Yeah.
Is to have somebody say, "I can help you."
Well, when we're immersed in misery, and misery's right here, oh yeah, I want to be happy. I'll do anything to be happy. That's not how you feel, right?
The manure is like here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's actually at the bottom of your feet, but it's because you're upside down in it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
but my wife had been trying to get me to go to one of this guy's seminars, and so then finally, and this happened. I'm like, maybe there's something there. And I'm not going alone, so then I called you.
Yeah,
We're
you
going to a
didn't-
seminar, and you're like, "How much is it?" It's $400. I don't have $400. I'm paying. You're going. The only thing you got to do is show up.
Yeah. But you didn't. You didn't tell me why you were there, though.
No,
So
I didn't.
You kind of
'Cause
kept
I knew
that
it-
close to the chest.
Because I knew if you knew, you probably wouldn't go.
You were saying,
Bro, you need to change too, because we've been hanging out together, and misery loves company.
Yeah. My wife says that this guy's really good. I think he's not that good. We need to go disprove it.
No, that's exactly.
Like, okay, I like this.
I'm in. I'm in. Anytime we can bring somebody else down. Yeah, right. Yeah,
isn't
that was exactly the conversation. That's right. We're going to go debunk this guy because I want to get her off my back. That was funny. Yeah.
So I'm there taking notes to debunk him, and you're going like, I'm changing.
No, well, yeah, we get there and it was like, yeah, and we sat at the very last row, in the furthest part in the chairs.
Keep in mind, there's like 500 people
There's-
here,
Yeah,
so
and we're in the back, and so we're sitting there, and this guy, I mean,
because
he
that's
was,
where you want to debunk people.
right, he's in the very back,
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't want to do it in their face.
Right. So, yeah, so we're sitting there, and this guy's he's very interactive with the crowd, and he's saying, shake the guy next to you, say you're lucky to be here, and the guy next to him. So you're there taking notes, and the guy on the other side of me is going, "We're lucky to be here," and I'm like, "You're lucky I'm not punching you in the face," and I'm like, "Don't touch me."
And the guy on the back.
Right, and we're arms folded, heads down. Nope.
And I have this weird thing. I like to sit on the end.
Yes,
Right.
and you made me sit in the middle, or on the inside, because I got that same weird thing. So anyway, so it's going on, and we're probably about an hour into it, and I'm trying not to listen, but things are getting in, things are hitting the brain.
Yeah.
And I remember it's about 2 hours into it,
Yep.
and all of a sudden I'm like, what this guy's saying makes sense.
Yeah.
And then and then I'm taking notes, and you're looking at me like, "What are you doing?" Debunking notes.
We're still here.
By the way, did you hear what he said? So things started to get in, and I remember it was just before we broke for lunch. In my mind, I'm thinking, I don't have to be the way I've been. I can change. I can be happy. I don't have to worry about all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, crap, I can't let my wife know that she was right.
Yeah. We don't want
Can't
anybody
live
to
with
know
that.
they were right. They were
yeah.
changing.
But then, yeah, so that, I mean, we went to that seminar, and then we were there. It was a 3-day seminar. We were there for 3 days. Came home, and that was really what launched me. It really got me thinking, and the thing that changed for me is I left that seminar with the impression that I don't have to be this way, that I can change,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how to change.
Right. So he was really good at saying life is kind of fluid.
Yeah,
You're not locked in.
yeah.
You can change it, because I was in a situation at the time where I was miserable.
That's why we hung out together all the time, because we were boosting each other up.
Yep. And we had been studying self-mastery for what?
Yeah. At least 3 years at that point, 3
Yeah.
to 4 years at that
Because,
time.
and we were just absorbing this stuff.
Right.
But, it takes a while for a really dry sponge to like, get the
A
information.
dry sponge is a good way to put it. It's hard, crusty,
Yeah, it was
but
like-
when you finally get something into it, it starts to soften.
Yeah, we weren't pouring buckets on. We were kind of dripping
A
it.
drop at a
Let's
time.
see, oh, we're gonna wait for a
that's
week and
not
see.
working.
No.
Well, but also we felt like everybody else had the problem.
What?
I know, right?
I
know.
actually felt that way.
Yeah.
If they would change,
Right?
your wife isn't paying attention when she's down here.
I know. No, but the thing when I got back, so I'm self-evaluating. It's like, okay, I know I need to change, and I know I can work on these areas. But how do I deal with these jerk people that I'm working with? Because I mean, and
Because they still have the problem.
it was a very mean, vindictive place. I've never worked at a place where the people were just mean and vindictive
Yeah.
towards each other. I mean, it was a very contentious environment.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
And I just hit a point where it was just, so I was just like, how do I make this shift and go to work and like these people?
Yeah.
Because they weren't changing. I was
Yeah.
the one that was trying. It was me,
Yeah.
right? And I remembered, I went back. I had a memory pop into my mind of back when I was in like the 3rd or 4th grade and in elementary school.
Uh-huh. That's
And
a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yes, back when rocks were soft.
Yeah, that's a faded memory.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm surprised I could remember that far back. But I remembered at recess we would go outside. Do you remember the elementary school up on the hill there in Prosser?
Heights.
The Height, yes, Elementary Heights or something like that.
Heights Elementary.
Heights Elementary, is that what it was?
That's Heights Elementary.
All right, that's what it was. I didn't remember that. I could drive to it, but I don't remember the name of it. But anyway, remember that on the edge of the playground they had that long row of pine trees.
Yeah, but they were only about that
well,
tall at
they
the
were
time.
really
They were-
tall at the time. Yeah. So, but there were, sticks and pine cones and stuff. And we would go out on recess and we would get those sticks and those pine cones, and the sticks would be our guns,
Yep.
and the pine cones would be
Our
our
hand
grenades.
grenades, yeah.
And we would play for for the recess, and those sticks were really guns, and those pine cones were really grenades.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the imagination was just vivid. It was like, brrr, and, I mean, the whole thing. And I remember that popped into my mind, and I thought, if I can imagine that those sticks were guns and those pine cones were grenades, why can't I have that same imagination in my mind now that those people that I work with that have been so mean and vindictive are good people?
Yeah.
Just pretend. I pretended in the 4th grade. As an adult, I should be able to pretend.
Yeah.
And so I just started to pretend that the work environment was a healthy work environment, that the people that I was working with, were good people and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I started to pretend, and and that's when the shift started to happen. And here's the interesting thing: they didn't change, but
Nope.
I changed.
Yeah.
But my work situation
Yeah.
changed.
So what's interesting is you're saying fake it till you make it.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Why not, right?
Yeah. It works.
Because really, you've already made it. Once you make the shift and you started to pretend,
Right.
you already started making the shift to be happy.
Right. Exactly.
To be happy, and that you are now in control of your emotional
Right.
state.
Right.
And when one of the things that we teach is use your imagination, right?
Right.
As a hypnotist,
Right.
we engage
It's all
people's
about
imagination.
imagination,
And as you were going through that, and did you start getting weird questions like, "Are you okay, Don?
Yeah.
What's up
oh,
today?
Yeah. What if, did you cut your hair? I mean, you're different. What's different about you? Yeah, that would started to happen. But the thing that did happen is the way they interacted with me started to change.
Yeah.
They would still be mean and vindictive and spiteful and all of that, but their interactions with me would change, had changed.
Yeah.
And I started to humanize them, I guess. And so if I had to break it down, I would say the first thing that I had to do is identify the emotion.
Right.
What's the emotion that I'm feeling, and is that the appropriate emotion for the situation that's going to
Right.
move me forward?
Yeah.
I can't do anything about what they're going to do,
Right.
but I can do a lot about how I'm going to act in
Yeah.
that situation.
So I hope you're paying attention, because he's really starting to give you some golden nuggets. When it comes to changing emotion, the very first thing you have to do is identify the emotion, right? You have to identify your emotion.
Yeah, what's the emotion that
That
I'm
I am feeling right now, right or wrong. And
Right.
the best time to analyze that sometimes is
Was when you-
after.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if you
when
try to-
you've experienced the emotion,
Yeah.
when and actually the identification really starts taking place as you're in the emotion,
Right.
And because you're starting to feel that,
You're starting to
emotion
feel
has
it.
feeling.
Right. But when you're in it, you're probably going to misidentify it. Because most of us, until we do some of these things on a very consistent basis,
Right.
we're going to misidentify our emotion. Because
Yeah. And I think that's where the second step comes in, is what's my perception in that emotion. So
Yeah.
my perception was they're mean and vindictive people. Is that a real statement, or
Yeah.
is it just how I'm feeling?
Yeah, and keep in mind, this happens like this quick.
Right, exactly.
So you're in this situation and you're feeling that they're mean, which is causing you to have some anger issues.
Right, because
right?
I am a type, I mean, you probably don't realize this
No.
from these podcasts, but I am a type A personality,
Oh, right.
meaning I'm just going to tell you.
That you're just before
Right.
the letter B.
Right. And yeah. And
Which
if
means
I need to
leave me alone.
Yeah. And if I'm very direct, and I'm going to let you know.
Yeah, and you weren't raised that way at all.
Yeah, I was not raised to take a shotgun to kill a fly.
That's a whole nother story.
Right.
We
So,
won't
so
get
you
into.
have the perception is, what's the emotion that I'm feeling, and then you have to evaluate that.
Yeah. So step one, here's the emotion. You have to identify it. 4,500 emotions out there. It's pretty tough to get it accurate when you start this.
Right.
So I suggest get a journal
Yep.
and write down.
Right.
This is after the fact. Let's say you had an engagement with somebody, and so after the fact, you say, "Man, I was angry." So I was angry, and then because, one little sentence. And
Yep.
then you say, "What's the result?"
Right.
So I was angry because my result is now they're really mad at me, and
Right. Or my result is, this was the outcome, but I wanted this outcome.
Yeah, so that's the next step.
Right.
So then you take a look at the same situation, you say, what emotion should I have had because,
Right.
and this is the outcome I
Right.
wanted.
So yeah, so you identify the emotion, and once you get used to doing it, you can actually identify the emotion in the moment.
You're right. Again, we
Yeah.
slow all this way
Right,
down. This
right.
happens in milliseconds.
Right, yeah.
So you have to practice, and that's why grabbing a journal and writing this down to practice
Right.
makes a big
That-
big
and
difference.
that's how we started, because I didn't have the ability in the moment to make that
change.
analysis, right? But and it doesn't take a long time. I mean, we're talking a couple of weeks
Yeah.
to start noticing change.
Yeah, because this is one of the results of
Right,
that, is that people
right.
walk up, oh, you're going to get pissed off when I tell you this.
Yeah, and,
So they
and-
start to dictate your emotion
Right, yeah.
before they talk about
yeah,
it.
this is
right?
going to really make you mad.
This is gonna make you mad.
piss you off. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah. You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I finally we started kind of working on this together because we went to the same seminar
Right.
to debunk this guy.
Right. Still working on debunking him.
Yeah, we're still.
We're actually kind of fans now. He debunked us.
Pretty
Did I
true.
mention that the
Yeah.
buy drink Panama Peach?
Yeah,
So
buy a drink.
have a drink.
Have a drink.
Have a drink.
Yeah, we hope Buy watches this.
Yeah, I know. Sponsor us. Really sponsor us.
This is not a sponsored.
No, it's not. It's just a drink of choice.
It is. It's so let's see, what was I saying? Oh, so they start, I
Yeah,
remember.
they tell you what your
What you're
emotion,
gonna
and
feel.
most people are conditioned that when I walk up and say this is going to piss you off, your mind goes, okay,
I'm ready.
I'm going to be pissed off.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember when this started really sinking in, because the first two steps will change a lot of this.
Right.
Right? Identifying the emotion you have, that you had, and the one you want. This is the result I had, this is the result I
Right.
wanted.
Right.
And
And as you work on it again, you start to process this in the moment.
in the moment.
So when somebody comes up to me and says this is going to piss you off, I'm like, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, because I reserve being pissed off
Yeah.
for when I feel like it's appropriate.
Exactly. So, but that's an advanced level of
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Because when somebody walked up to us, I was having a discussion, and they were saying, you're pissed off, you're mad. I was like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm
I
not.
took a quick analysis, quick evaluation,
Yep.
which we mentioned this in the last podcast.
Yep.
I wasn't upset.
Right.
And I was able to, then I was able to say, why don't we talk about this later when you've calmed down?
I know. Yeah.
Because-
Kind of shocks them, doesn't it?
It does. It's
Yeah.
like, well, because once you start working this, because emotion drives your results.
Yep.
Once you understand that emotion is the fuel and it drives your results, because with the emotion, you're going to assign the activity to it,
Right.
what you should do, the
Right.
action.
Yeah.
And so it's imperative you have to learn how to control
that emotion.
this
Yep.
emotion.
Yep. Yep. And once you start doing that, I mean, I'm in the moment, I'm okay, and a lot for me, when I'm in those situations, I immediately go to, okay, what's the outcome that I want? Because if I understand what it is that I want my outcome to be, then I can do backwards planning towards
getting that.
Yeah. So if I want this outcome, I need to do this step, then this step, then this step, and this step, and then I'm right here in this situation.
Right. And so that's step 3 of this. So
Right.
now you're doing some advanced journaling. This is
Right.
how you get there. And that is, gosh, I had some experiences. I didn't like those results. I didn't like those outcomes. So I'm going to start, this is the outcome I had. Let me rethink this.
Right.
You,
Yeah.
you really can't go back and change it.
No,
But
although
it's gonna happen again,
yeah,
so you
yeah.
can change the next
Although
thing.
I have had situations where it's it's not going to achieve the outcome,
Mm-hmm.
and this was early on as I was learning it. I said, I don't think this is going to produce the outcome that
Mm-hmm.
either one of us want. Can we start this conversation over?
Yeah.
Because I've recognized that I'm going off, I'm veering right or left instead of staying straight on
Yeah.
task.
Yeah, and one of the things that started happening to me is I didn't respond as fast as people would like.
Right,
Because I was
Yeah.
thinking.
right.
All of a sudden I found myself thinking, what emotional state am I in right now?
And that's key
and-
as well,
yeah.
is the state that we're in.
That I'm in.
Because our state is going to drive our emotion.
Yeah. What state are they in? What's the outcome that I want? And it took me time to process this
Right.
in the beginning. And so sometimes people would be talking to me and they'd say, did you hear me? Yeah, I heard you. Well, what do you think? Give me one more
It's too
second
bad
here.
we can't have a ticker on our processing. Little LED processing.
processing, bing, you know. But it took time, but I really slowed it down because all of a sudden I was more interested in getting the right outcome
Yep.
than to just engage
Right.
and see what happened.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so lots of times, I mean, at work, people would go like, "Did you hear me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I heard you."
Yeah.
Can I think about this for
Yeah,
a little bit?
right, exactly,
Or,
yeah.
Or
And-
this is what I feel, and
Yeah.
it's much more
Yeah.
accurate.
And I think it's important to point out that when I say, what's the outcome you want? It's not necessarily the outcome that I want. It's what's the appropriate outcome for this situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes the outcome might be as simple as, I don't punch him in the face.
Right.
You know?
Or the outcome might be, okay, you're not a jerk.
Right, yeah, okay, I do have an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the outcomes are very can be minute
Right, right.
because emotions drive all this, and the more I do this, the more I realize there's a lot more involved because there's relationships and
Right.
everything else.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
and so it can get complex, but I've now adjusted and said, you know what, everybody has value, everybody has worth. It's
Yeah,
worth for
you
me
have,
listening.
Yeah, I appreciate what
Yeah.
their contribution is to the conversation, the situation, whatever it may
Yeah.
be.
And that drives then what I'm going to do.
Right.
And keep in mind, so you can have an outcome that is going to require me to be calm,
Right.
but there's levels of calm.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Yes.
there's the level
Yes.
of calm where you call tranquility,
Right.
and then you call it sleep.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm really calm.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
But then there's also calm where you're just able to listen and maintain where you're at without
Right.
any feelings, hard feelings,
Yeah.
or whatever
Right.
the other feelings might be.
Yeah.
You can just remain calm in that
Yeah.
situation.
And really, is what for me the achievement is self-mastery, meaning I choose how I'm reacting to a situation or something that's being directed
Yeah.
to me in a way that's appropriate for me, that doesn't cause me to go sideways.
Exactly. And that's what self-mastery is all
Right,
about.
right.
So when you say self-mastery, it preludes, it's before
Yeah.
success.
I think, yeah,
So-
and I think a good term to use to explain this is something that's really become popular here recently over the last year or two is emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
All that is me gaining the understanding that I can respond based on the emotion that I want to put into that situation. Is really all that is.
Yeah, because there's 4,500 emotions. So
Right.
one is the feeling of intelligent.
Right.
You know, I
Right.
feel smart today.
Right. Well,
I ate my
yeah.
cereal,
Yeah.
and I feel smart.
And I only got 2 dribbles on my chin.
Yeah. So it's able to access the state
Yes.
then that makes you more creative, so
Right.
you can solve problems, so
Right.
that you can really be
Yeah.
in that state of solution.
Yeah,
solutions.
it's productive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's emotional intelligence, but you have to practice it. It all starts back to having your boss say,
Right.
"Would you like to be the janitor?"
That's right. Yeah. So, and the happy ending. So, as Doug said, it turned out to be a great experience. Number one, it caused me to have to identify my emotions and go through all these steps that we just talked about. But the ending is, I was on a trip. They sent me to Washington, D.C. For a seminar on hacking. And while I was there were some things that were happening, and I was trying to
Tell
deal
them, I've been mind hacking all this
yeah,
time.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. You know, there'd been some things that had been happening, and I'd been trying to deal with them remotely. But I mean, when you're on the other, 2,500 miles away from home,
Sometimes face to face is better.
right? And so I came home, and I was thinking, on the way home, I was just like, I'm going to be fired because I wasn't there to. And I was trying to deal with the issue, but because I wasn't there, I just didn't have the impact on it that needed to be there.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to be fired.
Yeah.
Because being asked to be the janitor is really step one of the firing
Yeah, it's
process,
like,
right?
Okay, that's
And-
in your note
Right.
file
And
right
this
now.
is and we're talking like 2, maybe 3 months
Yeah.
is all. Going from being asked to be the janitor, to this trip coming
Yeah.
home, and I'm thinking, I gave it my best shot. I guess I just see what life is, is going to happen.
Yeah.
So I get back to work on Monday, and the boss calls me and says, "Hey, can you come over to the office? I want to visit
You're
with
like,
you." And
this is it.
and I'm like, "This is it." And so I walk into his office, he says, "Go ahead and shut the door." And I'm like, "Yep, this is it." Anytime the boss wants the door closed.
Yep.
Yeah, so shut the door, and I sat down, and he said, while you were gone, he said, I decided it's time to make some changes in your department. And I was just like, this is it. And he slides a paper across the desk, and I'm like, yep, that's my "you're being fired" notice. And I picked it up, and he goes, "Go ahead and read that." And I picked it up, and I'm reading the first sentence, and I'm just like, what? And I had to read the first sentence like 3 times.
Yeah.
Because he was congratulating me for the changes that I had made in such a short period of time, and I was promoted to vice president.
Wow.
That
Yes.
was the happy ending, and I got
Yeah.
a nice little pay raise.
Excellent.
So,
So emotions
do
drive the results.
absolutely.
So that's the
And we've talked about this before. You have the thought. Okay, we can't control our thoughts because there's so many environmental influences that make a thought pop into our brain.
but you can dismiss it.
But you can dismiss it. It's just a thought. Can't control what's going to pop into our brain, really.
Right. Our brain's
But we-
meant for thinking, is built for thinking, it's going to have a thought.
And it's meant to, ideas are supposed to pop in there, all that, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to have the thought. Can't stop that from happening. But as Doug said, you can dismiss it. The thought means nothing until you assign an emotion to it.
That's right.
So emotion is what you need to strive to control, not the thought. So you have an emotion, you have a thought, you give it emotion. That emotion is going to drive action. So we're going to take action, which is the third thing.
Yep.
And based on that action, we're going to have our result.
Right.
So everybody has heard, if you want different things, if you want things to change, you have to do different things.
Right.
It is absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah.
If you want different different
Result, then do
results,
something different,
then
right?
change what you're doing. Even
Yeah.
the minute change will have
Yeah.
will make a difference in the end result.
But if you want to have light speed change, focus on your emotion.
Right.
Don't.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, "I didn't like that result. This is what I did,"
Yeah.
and they don't even consider the emotion
Yeah.
that was driving it.
Right.
So you look at the result, you look at the action, but then when you go to change, if it's a negative thought, just dismiss it.
Get rid of it.
Don't give
Yeah.
it anything.
And replace it with something happy
exactly.
or something positive.
Yeah. Be happy.
Be happy, right? What's the state that you're in? Because our state drives the emotion.
Right. Our
Okay.
state drives.
I mean-
our state is the emotion. It drives the
Exactly,
action.
right. Have you, and all of us have been around somebody that they're just fun to be around. And it's because they're in a good state. They have a good emotion.
Yeah.
And so be that person. Be the person that's always happy, that people want to be around, because it's just fun and feels good to be around that person.
Yeah. So concentrate on the emotion. That's the
Right.
4th step.
Right.
So we just outlined 4 steps for them.
Yep.
This is what I did. This is what I wanted to do. This is the emotion.
Yep.
So now I'm going to backtrack. This is how I backtrack it. And now, really, just focus on your emotion.
Yeah.
Just make the difference in your
Yeah.
emotions.
And be happy.
And be happy. Okay, this wraps us up on this. But before we do, our website is up and running. So
Yes, super
and-
exciting.
Yeah, super exciting. So you can see this on our website.
Full
or-
color.
Full color, yeah. It's black and white.
Not just colored audio, colored video now.
Yeah. Or you can listen to it as a podcast, and the podcast is downloadable, so you can take it with you.
Put it on your phone, your iPad,
Whatever
tablet,
you want to
whatever.
do. Yep.
Listen to it at work. Maybe have your boss listen to it at work.
Yep. Have people like it?
Yeah.
So it's 3pointslive.com. 3 points, that's with an S, pointslive.com. 3pointslive.com is our website. We invite you to go there, check things out. You can see who we are and what we do, and we love doing this. We've been doing this for 16 years, so there's a lot of good. I mean, it's a long time. That's
It's a
how we
long
got
time.
gray hair.
Yeah, right. We were 12 when we started.
That's why we can laugh when we go to those seminars. Yeah, we were like,
Yeah.
we were a mess.
Yeah, self-mastery only about 1.5% of the population actually work on self-mastery on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So be one of the elite.
Be an elite.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
So thanks for tuning in. This is Doug.
I'm Don, and it's been great to be with you today.
Yeah, until we talk to you again, have a good day.
See ya.